back over here at the side shop today, doing a couple things while we still wait on parts. The main thing I want to accomplish today is draining all the old fuel out of this cell. The fun part is I don't know how much is in it. The last time I drove it, I filled it, and I didn't drive it very far, so I'm assuming it's still pretty full. I brought 10 gallons worth of container. Hopefully that's enough. To be totally honest, I don't even remember how big the cell is. I think it's 10 or 12. So we might not be able to get all of it out, but we're going to try to get most of it. And like I said, we're just going to keep ourselves busy as we're waiting on the UPS guy. So let's get started. This car has the world's heaviest trunk lid, and I've got obviously a high quality prop rod here. Wedge it like that. Try not to die. I should get struts or like a real prop rod someday. Anyways, this is the fuel cell. Let me get you guys in here so you can see. This is our fuel cell. It is probably most of the way full with Sunoco Supreme 110 octane leaded racing fuel, which is cool and smells good, but we're not going to use that anymore, so I want to get it all out. Not totally sure how I'm going to do that yet. Wow. Have a look and just see if I could see a fluid level. That anywhere. Oh yeah, it's not plumb full, but it's not empty either. Luckily for us, this thing doesn't get very good fuel economy, so this probably 10 miles I drove it while it was blowing up, cracking a cylinder, probably sucked down a fair amount of fuel, which means we have less to drain. I'm going to loosely put that back. We'll crawl underneath and try to figure out a game plan here. Now we're underneath. And one of the other reasons why I want to drain the fuel is because the race gas is doing its thing to this pump too. I don't know if it's got a leak here or if like the seal on the pump is going out on us because it's sat so long, but I think what I'll do is once I get the cell drained, I'm going to take this pump off, which is like a Holley Dominator pump it looks like, and see if I can get like a rebuild kit for it or take it apart and reseal it. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. My initial thought was to use the pump to drain the cell and just pump it all out into my gas jugs. I still think that's plan A. We got a ground here, and there's appears to be a red power wire in there. I have a little 12 volt unit that runs off a Milwaukee battery. I think we'll try that first because like I said, I want to be able to start and stop because I don't know how much is in it. And if I just pull the plug, we're really, really committed. So option B, if using the pump in the car doesn't work, is this hot little unit I built here. All it is the cheapest electric fuel pump that Amazon would sell me. I think it was like 12 bucks. 3D printed Milwaukee battery holder for a 12 volt supply. You just hook it up here and we got an in and an out, which will work pretty good, and that'll allow me to shut it off too. I just don't know where I'd stick the suction hose because there's foam in the cell. So what I think I'm going to do is ignore this part, use this power supply. Hopefully the wires are long enough. I might have some wire over here. Use this to power the pump in the car, and then I brought some hose too. We'll get something to adapt into this line, which looks like a 10, and we'll set a fuel jug where the motor should be, and we'll just pump it up through the regulator and fill it. I guess I could also crack it here, and we wouldn't have to pump it through the regulator, which might be a better idea. And I could probably just shove that right in a fuel jug and not have to MacGyver union something together. Let's have a look at that first. See if we can't get this hose out off the regulator. I don't think there will be any fuel in this, but I've been wrong before. Sure, everything has evaporated since then. Look at this. It's gonna be perfect. Step one complete. Dig through the stuff I left over here. Oh, that looks like wire. What is this? Oh, those are that work in a pinch. The worst part about working over here is I don't have all my stuff. So I have to bring it back and forth, which is like, this space is awesome. I'm not complaining about having it. But it seems like whenever I'm over here, I end up making 7 million trips back and forth. Okay. Well, that's heat shrink. I got red. All right. Well, if we had to, we could do the same color for both. I'd be able to tell. All right. We do have wire in case we need it. Okay. Back under Start popping this ground wire off, which I think there's a nut on the backside. There is. Okay, I'm actually going to put that back in the hole. So we have a ground here, and we've got a red up here. Where does this into this? Maybe I got to go topside and see if I can't find where that runs. All right, I'll be back. Is it moving down there? Can't see anything because you have my light. Ow. Remember that heavy trunk lid I was talking about? Just smashed my head on it. I hate this split loom too. Split loom is fine, but like the plastic corrugated stuff, I hate for cars. I use it on my trailer. They make like a fabric style split loom. TechFlex does. I get it from WireCare. Way better, way more professional looking. So I wouldn't be heartbroken if I had to cut this loom off, but I think I would be a little heartbroken if I had to cut the wires, although I could put a nice connector on it. That way, if we ever had to do a fuel pump, it's a plug and play deal. Maybe I'll do that. Can you just come a little bit? There we go. I'm starting to talk myself into the cut it and make a connector later deal. Not that I plan on doing a bunch of roadside repair on this thing, but I like to utilize serviceable connectors and stuff whenever possible. That tape might just be there forever. Oh, well, that settles that. We're going to snip this. We'll run the pump that way. And I'll be able to like hold my board up here. Hopefully not spark and catch myself on fire. All right. Ooh, that'll be fine. Commitment. I said ooh because I can't remember if I got strippers over here. I got a pocket knife. Oh. I might have strippers too. I don't know. Oh, I do. Yep. Definitely knew I was going to punch that. Okay. Power and ground. How many amps you think this thing pulls? Doesn't matter. We'll find out. I do think I'm going to make things a little easier on myself and build some wire extensions here real quick so I can set the pump board deal on the ground, because I want to be able to just let it run while I'm watching the fuel jug up front, and if I have to hold it, it's not going to happen. The other benefit of this is if there is any sparkage, it's farther away from the container full of gasoline, which I think is a benefit. This little bag here is usually what I keep just in the back of my truck for like last chance, broke down on the side of the road. It was more important when I was daily driving white trash. Since I started driving my black truck, I kind of don't use it anymore. It just lives over here. So now, come in here, twist these together, try to do the same with the ground. That's going to be what's known as a bad ground. Idiot-proofed myself quick. We're going to put blue. Well, here's how it works. Black is red, which is blue, which is ground. That's a lot of tape. That's too much tape. Okay. Black is red, is blue is ground. I'm going to hook that up in a second. We'll go ahead and go hot to hot here. One thing fun about my custom pressure treated fuel pump is if once you put a battery in it, if you touch these two together, it blows that fuse immediately. Oh, yeah. Fuel's coming out. Sweet. All right, let's go up front. Let's see how it works. Clamp this. She's flowing. Oh, stay in there. How long before those wires heat up and melt? I better go check. Well, this is easy, but it's going to take a long time. Are you watching up here? Make sure. Oh yeah, she's flowing. Look how blue this fuel is. We usually call it grape Kool-Aid, but honestly, it's more of a glacier freeze. All right, well, we're gonna let that pump until either my battery dies or I melt those 16 gauge wires and I have to remake them, or the tank's empty. I don't know what's gonna happen first. Well, I think it's empty. The pump changed tone. I don't want to run it dry for too long, but I just unhooked it. I think I'll let it sit for a couple minutes, see if anything kind of settles. Oh, I can't see without a light. See if it kind of settles down. I do have the back in the air and the front of the ground. That's actually the opposite of what we want for flowage. So there might be a little on the bottom still because of that. But we'll just let it sit for a minute, and then we'll pulse it a couple times. See if we at least clear the line out. Okay, well, the pump stopped pumping. I think we're as empty as we're going to be able to be. So we'll just reconnect that line to the regulator. Then we'll get this fuel jug out and we'll go to the back. And I'm a little more confident now in just taking off the lines to the cell that we're not going to take a bath. I'm not 100% sure we're not going to take a little bit of a bath, but at least it won't be a 6-gallon bath. All right. I don't know how much we took out. There's less than I thought. 4.5 gallons? So maybe I didn't fill it. Maybe I just put a jug in it. All right. Well, there's what almost $70 worth of fuel looks like that I have no idea what I'm going to do with because it's not new. All right. Well, after not much thought, I've decided to not lower the car because it's up on axle stands right now. It's kind of a pain to jack up. I just kind of don't want to. I mean, I could set it down, jack it back up, but I don't want to leave it setting on these big giant tires either, and they'll get flat spotted. So instead, I'm going to pull this plug, and we'll see if any fuel comes out, which I don't think any's going to. Nope. All right, I'll put the plug back then. That was uneventful. Let's pull this one and see if we get any. There's probably a little in the filter. Okay, just a little. So now, move this bucket. One of these this one here is up forward to the regulator. This one looks like it's the return. Oh, it's labeled. Look at that. Out, return, in. So the return should have basically nothing in it. The out might have some in the line. And where I'm currently laying would be a real bad spot to break it because it would go in my mouth. Painter's tape is known for holding up when exposed to fuel too, so I'm sure this will be there for a long time. That's just for me. Okay. Crack this return. There should be very little. Uh-oh. If any. Whoa. I was wrong, and I'm glad I'm laying over here. Can I fit all 3 hoses in my bucket? I got it. Oh, I just kicked my other car. That's fine. I don't know where the low. This must be the low point. So maybe there's some in this. There's some in the pump. All right, we don't have caps, which is fine. So I think what we're going to do, tie these up out of the way together. Use that shock mount. And then we'll work on getting this pump out of here. So what do we got here? This pump is mounted to this plate. Oh, it missed my mouth. Just by that much, though. That's where a cap would come in handy. Anyways, what I'm seeing, what we got going on is this pump is mounted to this plate, and this plate is bolted to this homemade angle iron bracket. So I think if I could take this bolt out, I can take the whole plate. And then it's for sure going to fall like on me and spill more gas in my mouth. Well, okay. Here we go. Let's get this out of here and have a look. Fuel pump. So instead of taking this thing apart here, I think we're going to pack our stuff up and head back to the home shop where I have like a real bench and all my tools. Just places to take this apart and not lose any pieces. So I'm going to pack up real quick, load the truck. We'll head back home and see what the inside of this Dominator pump looks like. Can't forget our mower gas, which I did good this time. I didn't have to make a single trip to grab something we forgot. I'm getting better. The lights are off. All right, we're back at the home shop. Get the truck unloaded and then probably wipe this bench off and we'll get inside that fuel pump, see what it looks like. Does anybody know what happens if you put leaded fuel in your lawnmower? Just asking for a friend. Prior to me taking the car apart, it always had a little bit of a drip under the cell, and I wasn't sure. If it was coming from one of the fittings or the pump itself, but the bolts on the bottom side that kind of hold the gear pump unit itself together are green, grape jelly green, like you saw in the carburetor rebuild. So I'm assuming there's seals in there that finally just gave it up. I also think while I have it out, I'll go ahead and put a nice Deutz connector on this side. Never had one of these apart before. Not entirely sure what I'm going to find, but I'm not afraid. I don't know. You can see it better now. All the green stuff. That's what happens when the race fuel sits like that. Or I keep saying race fuel. I don't think it has anything to do with the fact that it's race fuel. I think it's has something to do with the fact that there's lead in it. Then I'm assuming there's a seal in here, and this whole thing's going to fall out in my hands, and there'll be O-rings. Then it probably looks something like a oil pump in here. Oh yeah, that's kind of what I thought it would be like. So we've got this plate, which evidently only goes one way. This plate that goes like that, and then there's this seal, which has some grit on it. There's some sort of gasket here on this intermediate plate. And here's the gear pump that actually pumps the fuel. The motor drives the center one, and it walks around just like an oil pump. And then this is the manifold block that feeds the pump. So fuel in here, fuel out here, and then this is the return. So this is all ported in there to make that all work. Okay. Well, good news is it looks relatively clean. All right, so I think what we're going to do, since we have this apart, is I'm going to pull all these fittings off and clean everything up, clean these little screen filters that are in here, and probably dunk everything in the sonic tank and just give it a bath for a little bit. And then we'll assemble this block, try to order a gasket and an O-ring, and then we'll put everything together. It'll be good as new. Wow, those are tight. Why is this screen not coming out with it? No, I can't get that out. Try a different thing. That comes out. Oh, that must be a check valve. No, unless there's a check ball in there that I can't see. Not entirely sure what that spring is for, but we'll clean it up anyway. Had to get the big guns out for this one. Wow. That one probably wasn't leaking with it being that tight, but... So I just want to take a minute to say, if you guys made it this far in the video and you're still watching, first of all, thank you. Second of all, please go ahead and subscribe. It helps me out a lot, maintains motivation, and it doesn't cost you anything. It's free. That way, every time I drop a new video, you'll get a notification. You won't miss anything that we're doing with any of the cars. Don't forget, we have the RoadRunner motor going together. Camshaft and parts are showing up Tuesday. It's Saturday right now as I'm recording this. We got that 1950 Chevy coming home in a couple weeks. We're going to see if we can get it running and back on the road after 30 plus years off of it. I don't even know. That might be a bad estimation. We've got the Pro Drift car that I'd like to get back out and do stuff with. My black Nissan S14. It's ready. It just needs a dyno tune. I'd like to take you guys along for that as well. So, like I said, appreciate you making this far. Please like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you want to see anything special. All right, we'll put all the stuff in the basket here. Oh, don't lose that spring. Go ahead and give it a bath. While that is cooking, I'm going to turn my attention to this and try to slide this motor up in this bracket a little bit so I could read this part number that I think is under there, so I could try to order seals. I don't see a part number on the pump itself besides Dominator series, and I'm sure this thing is old and they don't make it anymore. Let me loosen that up quick, and we'll at least get that information, although that may be just for the motor. Get rid of this. Get rid of that plate and spread the bracket apart so we can slide the pump up and down. I'm not in love with this bracket either. At the very least, I think we'll paint it. Okay, what do we see here? This has a date on it. April 17th, 2000. So this pump's 25 years old. I'm sure it's still fine. Let me grab my phone here, take a picture of this.
So when I'm perusing Summit Racing later, I can try to find parts. It is a 290R-21A. I don't know if that is describing the entire pump or if that's just the motor, but it's the only markings I can see on the thing. I'd imagine Holley made a number of these pumps in like different GPMs, and they might have made like a 16 volt one. So we'll just have to look and see. I'm sure the innards are probably all the same. So I was gonna go ahead and put a nice Deutsch connector on the pump motor. So if we have to change it, it's just a plug and play deal. But I don't have the right size connector. I've got the right pins and sockets, but not the part that they fit into. So I'm going to not do that for now. Might still do it later. But I also might just put it back the way it was. I haven't decided. When I turned this thing over, the gears came out. So I was just checking out those. They look pretty good. Not a bunch of wear. I'm not going to worry about replacing these. This pump is old. What I say, 25 years old. But it's very low use. So I think all the hard parts are good. I would just like to put O-rings and seals in it, and then we'll put it all back together. So we've got our parts out of the cleaner here, all clean. I just blew them off with air, but I did it before I started filming so it doesn't blow your ears out. In the cleaning process, this did come out, which is backed up by the spring that I was wondering what it does. So this must be like the pressure relief. It must push on this spring as pressure gets too high and dump it back to tank. So we're going to go ahead and just assemble all this again. Now that fitting, that's the pressure relief valve. It has an O-ring on it, so we'll just snug it up. The rest of these are 8AN to MPT. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of thread sealer on them just so we don't have any leaks there. I'll probably even put a little bit on the threads of these bolts just because they sandwich everything together. So the in, the out, let's do this for now. Plug the secondary inlet and the return. That's what it should look like. Okay, we got all these tightened up in the right holes. I think for the sake of keeping things nice, I'm going to go ahead and loosely bolt all of this back together, knowing that I will need to take it back apart to replace these gaskets. But for now, I'll bolts in here and maintain my orientation. It's not supposed to happen. Something like that. How was it? Yep. In and out. That's how it was in the car. Okay. Like I said, we're just going to kind of put these in finger tight. And then when we have a rebuild kit, we'll just crack them. All right. I think that's it for this episode of Tiger's Garage. Thank you for watching. As always, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week for hopefully more 440 build.